Good morning, everyone. So today I put something on the agenda that I wanted to talk about because it's something that I think will help us with what we're constantly striving to do. And it starts with talking about our mission, right, which is to improve lives and maximize community safety. So before we get started, I would like for you to close your eyes and imagine your officers. Imagine your officers in their office visits, in the hallways with their clients, or in the UA labs, and what you have seen in their interactions. So now I ask you, if we randomly ask some of those clients, if their probation officer has helped them improve their lives, what do you think they would say? So how can we ensure that the answer is yes, right? What can we do every single day that can help us improve that? And how can we enable probation officers to do the same? So what if I told you that there was a way that we could do that? That there's already something in existence that can help us bring that from the probation officers and get that yes from the client. The answer to that is this book, Influencer. And if we read this and applied the concepts that are in here, we could bring about that change that we want to see in probation officers. And what's interesting about this book is that Mr. Robinson, who you all are familiar with, our former director, he read it. And if you think about the things that he brought with him when he joined our organization several years ago, and why we were so moved, some of us, to become leaders in this organization, he implemented those things from this book. He recognized that there was a lot of value from it. So let me go further into why I think Influencer would be beneficial for us. Number one, it would help us hone in on the vital behaviors that we think are key for our officers to engage in. We already know and we talk about these things, but how do we get that to be the case? What can we specify as one thing that these officers can do? Number two, which we always talk about, well, we give officers tools. We have skill-driven supervision. We have motivational interviewing, but they don't use it, right? Well, this book provides us the 6 sources of influence that can help us motivate and enable our officers to do these behaviors, to engage in these behaviors. And then it'll help us stop talking about something that we already know is an issue and start doing something about it. So what's even more inspiring is that, guess what? We're already doing something that the book proposes. We're already doing motivational interviewing. We all have this on our desks, and we're supposed to be using it daily with our clients. And we see the value in it. We've all discussed scenarios when it has happened where a client advocates for change, and it's no longer an adversarial relationship. So motivational interviewing can be translated into our interactions with our officers. That's something that we haven't really explored and engaged in. When I think about motivational interviewing and trying it with our officers, I think about, the other day I tried it with one of my officers, and right away he caught on and he's like, "Are you MIing me?" And then I talked to Sean, the other manager in the same hallway, and he said he's tried motivational interviewing in his personal life and with his family, but right away his wife is like, "Did you go to a training today that you're using these skills on me?" So it's pretty obvious that sometimes when we're using these skills for somebody who's familiar with the concepts, it might not be as easy. But when Sean and I were discussing this, one of the things that came to both of our conclusions was it's because we're rusty in practice, because we're not using it with this type of population. We think about it in terms of only with the clients. but this is something that can be used across the board in your personal life, in your work life with your staff. And so one of the things that I invite you to do is start practicing a little bit more. Maybe you'll get busted using it here and there, but the more you practice it, the more it'll become familiar and the more natural it'll be, and the less people will question what it is that you're doing. But why is it that MI and influence are so important? Because we want the officers to explore what it's like to be somebody who can improve lives, what it's like to actually make the mission come alive. We want to communicate in a way that avoids roadblocks and where they feel like we're attacking or we're judging them. And we want to help officers see the need for change themselves and elicit that change talk from them. So it will take time, and it is a little bit more time, and I recognize that we're all busy and we all have a lot of things on our plate. One thing I offer you is listen to it on audio. I know a lot of us have long commutes into work, so that could be something that solves your problem as far as time commitment. And then during these meetings, we can have work sessions where we can discuss how it's going, what tools we need for support in implementing some of the concepts on influence. So it's something that I would like for us to discuss if this is something that you think you can implement in your office, and are you ready to see that change in your probation officers?
Wonderful.